What is up, guys? Another day, another issue in the Genshin community, and this time it's the Tsaritsa, the one and only Tsaritsa. The community has been divided over this character, and there are a few people who are absolutely loving Tsaritsa's design, and then there is a group of people who are absolutely hating on her design. Now, arguably, Tsaritsa is the most important character in Genshin that they have revealed so far, and when we finally got to see how Tsaritsa looks 5 years later, yeah, a lot of people are not really happy. So what exactly is going on in the Genshin community? Why are people hating on Tsaritsa? Today we are going to be talking about that in this video, and I'm going to talk about two major reasons why I believe Tsaritsa is being hated on. Let's get on straight with the first reason, which I believe is a little bit convincing, because I feel like if you hate Tsaritsa's design because of this reason, then I can kinda, understand where you're coming from. So this character, Tsaritsa, she has been hyped for over 5 years, right? At this point, she is the leader of the Harbingers. She is leading the Fatui. She is leading the fight against the Heavenly Principles. And naturally, for the last 5 years, when you have been hearing of a character like this, a certain image starts to develop in your mind. You start to imagine Tsaritsa as someone who is going to have a lot of aura, who is going to have a domineering presence, who is going to look like a cold-hearted character. So, and then you look at the characters who are working under Tsaritsa, basically the Fatui. You got characters like La Signora, rest in peace. Rest in peace, La Signora. She still keeps coming up, bro. And we got characters like Arlecchino. We got Harbingers like that working under the Tsaritsa. And these characters, they got a whole aura surrounding them. Especially just take a look at Arlecchino, man. Like Arlecchino, probably one of the best designed female characters in the entirety of Genshin. So when you think of Tsaritsa, someone who is leading all of these Harbingers, who commands so much power and respect in Snezhnaya, and who is trying to fight the Heavenly Principles, you start to think of a female character who exudes a lot of aura, someone like Arlecchino, an Archon who is kinda like maybe Raiden Shogun. And yeah, this is the kind of image that Genshin, I believe, has also tried to push among the people. Genshin has always tried to show Tsaritsa as cold and being really ruthless sometimes. Also, her being the leader of the Harbingers, and the amount of respect the Harbingers have for the Tsaritsa. Over the 5 years, people have developed a certain image for Tsaritsa, and that is clear when you take a look at all the fan arts that we had for Tsaritsa going around. People have been making fan arts like this for the Tsaritsa. Now, full credit to whoever the artist for these fan arts are, because these look absolutely amazing, right? And these are the fan arts for Tsaritsa before she was revealed by Genshin. So people had a certain amount of expectations in their head for Tsaritsa for the longest time, and these fan arts really show what sort of expectations people had in their head. But guys, when Genshin dropped a character who looks like this, who is totally different from whatever aura this fan art is giving, I mean, they are not even remotely similar. I can understand why people would be disappointed. Now, I know this is kind of a common theme in the Genshin community, where people look at leaks or people have a lot of expectations for a character, and when the character finally drops, they get absolutely pissed because the character does not look or does not play at all how they were expecting. So yeah, this is kind of a classic example of that, except the problem here is this character has been teased for 5 freaking years, not a few months, not maybe a year. For 5 freaking years, she is probably the most important character in Genshin and the most important Archon in Genshin, and so that is why the hype and the expectations around this character were just at that level. So when you don't get a design like that, a lot of people can definitely be pissed. I mean, take a look at this. I don't like her design. I feel like she has zero Tsaritsa aura. This thing, bro. This term, aura, is going to come up in multiple complaints among the community. Anyone who is complaining about this is probably going to talk about how this design does not really portray any aura. Her expressions and her overall face give zero emotion or personality at all. She looks like some random 5-star, not the Tsaritsa. I really wanted her to have white hair. Okay, that's his personal take, but yeah. Shows zero emotion and personality. You see, this is the problem that happens when they have portrayed Tsaritsa as someone who is strong, cold, the leader of Harbingers, ruthlessly waging a war against the Heavenly Principles for multiple years, and then you got Harbingers like Dottore working under her, who are, let's be real, straight up mass murderers committing genocides. You have a certain image of Tsaritsa on your head, right? And Hoyoverse at no point in time has tried to make it clear in Genshin that Tsaritsa is not a character who has a domineering aura. Tsaritsa has always been represented as someone who has a lot of authority, has a lot of strength, and that is why this is the kind of fan arts that the people have been making, the community have been making for the longest time. So you feed a community of players expectations and fan arts like this for entire 5 years, and then you deliver a character like this. I can totally see why a lot of people would be pissed. Now, is this a reason to hate on Tsaritsa? Well, to be honest, I feel like this is totally personal opinion. If you don't like her character design and you were expecting something else, that is something that is totally up to you. The character is designed by Hoyoverse, and they had something on their mind when they were designing that character, right? They designed that character according to the lore, and the lore for Tsaritsa is she is the Archon of Love. Now, obviously, everything we have seen about the Fatui and Snezhnaya does not really point towards love at all. It feels more like the Nation of War than Natlan itself. But yeah, arguably the point is Tsaritsa is the Archon of Love, and if you are trying to make a character who fits the design for an Archon of Love, but you make their character design like this, it's probably not going to fit the Archon title well, will it? Also, I know a lot of people were pissed about her having a kid. I mean, once again, I believe that it's just peak degeneracy, bro. I don't know why the community gets pissed whenever a character seems to have a family, a real love interest, or a kid. I don't know. The Genshin community seems to be allergic towards straight ships or characters having children or relationships. I'm like, bro, what's... I really cannot digest this fact, so I'm not going to be talking about that, because honestly, the whole argument that Tsaritsa having a kid makes her unattractive is kind of stupid to me. Now let's move on to the second biggest reason why I believe that people are hating the Tsaritsa design, and while this one has a few certain points, I believe that this argument also has a big flaw. Take a look at this comment that I found on TikTok. I agree that the design looks simple, yet it exudes an elegance befitting a queen. However, there is a recurring issue of outfits, short skirts and exposed neck or arm areas, which seems impractical for a cold region like Chesnaya. The same applies to other characters from that nation. Still, I really love her beautiful face and her eyes. Then again, I suppose we shouldn't get our hopes too high for mind-blowing game character designs in Genshin. Alright, now I will have to agree to one point in this, and that is Hoyoverse has been having a very repetitive design regarding female character outfits in the longest time. I believe after we were done with Fontaine, most of the character outfits don't seem to have a huge amount of variations. I think Natlan was good. Natlan was good, okay? Natlan, some characters were really good looking. I mean, they had very, very unique outfits. But this outfit design, short skirt, exposed neck, exposed arms, emphasis on the chest area, kind of reminds me of the whole HSR drama. Like, people were saying how all the HSR female characters look exactly the same. They seem to have the same skirt design. And I believe that a similar thing is happening in Genshin. And that is why I believe the whole Sandrone drama also happened. Because in order to appease the fans, in order to like provide fan service, they made Sandrone's skirt shorter and they put more emphasis on her chest area. I mean, like, bro, what? That was totally not necessary. And the same thing seems to have been done with Tsaritsa and a lot of characters who are from Shenzhenaya and from North Korea. I'm not really a fan of this. I believe that, you know, Fontaine designs were absolutely peak. And the reason why they were peak is because every single character seemed to have a very different aesthetic. All of them look very, very different. So, I don't know. Maybe the design team changed internally. We never know what is the reason behind all of this. But yeah, coming to the cold area point though, I believe this is where this argument falls short. People are saying that the Tsaritsa having a short skirt and having like exposed arms and neck does not make sense in a cold area, which I believe is absolutely stupid, because Tsaritsa is the Archon of Ice, the Archon of Cryo, right? And a character who literally is the Archon of Cryo, I don't believe she is going to be feeling cold, because let's be real, that would be saying like Raiden Shogun gets electrocuted by her own electricity, or Mavika gets burned by her own fire. So I don't think it makes sense at all that the Cryo Archon would be having any problem with ice. And the other thing is, she is a fae or a fairy, and once again, like Loma, who also seems to be a fae, you know, the pointed ears, faes seem to be doing well in the cold region. They don't really feel that much cold compared to the human characters. So I believe it is completely fine for Tsaritsa to not have a whole overcoat and a lot of jackets and shit. This argument, I believe, does not really make sense. Where it does make sense though is a few of the other Not Cry characters and a few of the other Shenzhenaya characters having short skirts and having their hands exposed, which honestly I really don't have anything in defense for that. Some characters do need to look like they appear from cold climates, especially the normal human characters, but hey, yeah, that's not really happening, is it? Yeah, but with that out of the way, these were the two biggest reasons why people were complaining about the Tsaritsa design. One being misled expectations, because 5 years of hype building for a character is truly a lot, and yeah, when the character does not really seem to look how people were expecting, it's really normal for people to be disappointed with the design. And the second one is the character outfit being a little bit generic, which I believe Hoyoverse has been doing this a little bit. I really wish Hoyoverse would tone down a little bit on the fan servicing part, I guess. I mean, take a look at Arlecchino. Arlecchino does not need any fan servicing, does she? But she is still very, very popular. So it is totally contrary to the whole thing that you need to have exposed hands, exposed chest, or a shorter skirt for a female character to be popular, right? It's literally not needed. But then once again, they probably had this design in mind for a long time. I mean, Genshin is not a new game, right? They probably had all the designs planned for most of the major characters, at least the Archons and the big enemies like the Heavenly Principles, like the Descenders. So they probably had all those designs planned and ready even before they started making the game. So I can say that Tsaritsa's design was probably not to have fan service. This was maybe how they intended the character to look for a long time. It was just misplaced expectations, and the way they represented her in the story for the longest time as someone who seems to be a very, very strong character. So definitely that image started to create in the people's head. And let's be real, there's going to be another issue with Tsaritsa. Now I'm going to be making this prediction long before this even happens, but as soon as Tsaritsa's gameplay drops, you will see a lot of the community start to complain. They will be like, this gameplay looks like a copy of every other character. This gameplay does not really look that good. It does not look amazing. It's so generic. The animations could be better. Guys, we have to understand something out here, right? This is Genshin. And if you take a look at all the characters Genshin has released in the past, Tsaritsa is also going to be pretty much similar to those characters. She's not going to have some mind-blowing animations. She's not going to have some game-breaking skills. She's not going to start flying everywhere. She's not going to start phasing through walls or shit, right? Maybe a little bit of those mobility things could be there in her kit, but obviously you're not going to be getting a wuwa level character ultimate animation. It's not happening because Genshin is based on a completely different game engine, and a character suddenly having all of those animations will not fit the theme of Genshin Impact. So you have to see the characters, how they were designed in the past, and then you have to see what sort of character abilities Tsaritsa can get. It's going to be similar to the characters we already have in the game, but then this character has been hyped for 5 years, so just keep an eye on how the community is going to create this huge backlash as soon as they release Tsaritsa's kit. It's going to be absolutely insane. With that out of the way, what do you guys think of Tsaritsa's design? Do you like her design or do you hate her design? Me personally, I really like her design, okay? I believe that being the Archon of Love, this design really does her justice, and yeah, while I would find something like this very cool, I would not complain about this design as well. But I'm not complaining about this design too. This design looks really good as well. This design has its own appeal and this design has its own appeal, and I like both of them. So I don't really have any problem with Tsaritsa not looking like a Gotomomi. Yeah, I'm fine with however she looks. But what is your opinion? Do you guys think Tsaritsa looks mid? Do you guys think they should have gone with this aesthetic more than this? And will you be pulling for Tsaritsa when she comes out? Let me know down in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one.